Trouble with Tribbles is one of the favorite Star Trek episodes of all time. The secret of its popularity lies in the geniuses of writers Gene L. Coon and David Gerrold, and not to mention director Joseph Pevney, who told a story that dealt with serious issues and events, yet filled it with humor. Their respective experiences in vaudeville and hit television shows like The Munsters resulted in some great bits of physical comedy. Watch Scotty scrap with the Klingons, and Kirk have his close encounter with a Tribble-filled bin. While most Star Trek episodes were designed to make you think, this one was created to make you laugh. You'll see why in this episode, originally titled A Fuzzy Thing Happened, and then retitled The Trouble with Tribbles.
That was funny. I was always a science fiction fan, and I had read just about everything published. There wasn't as much in 1967 as there is today, but I had read just about everything I could get my hands on, which was pretty much just about everything. And the first episode of Star Trek was on the air, and I said, you know, this could be something good.
Space, the final frontier.
It was Thursday night, 8:30 NBC. And I sat down Friday morning and started writing an outline for an episode I wanted to submit. I was already at USC Film School. And I think it was 2 days later, either Tuesday or Wednesday, that we heard from Gene L. Coon. He said, this young man can write. We can't do this story, but we'd like to see what else he can do. And he invited me down to the set, to the offices to meet him. And we talked, and he told me what I should do, and he gave me the Star Trek Writer's Guide. And I went home and studied it and started preparing stories for the second season. And I brought back 5 really good ones. Well, I thought they were terrific. And one of them, which he sort of, I don't know if we can do this, was about these little fuzzy animals that bred like crazy. He said, this is going to be expensive.
You're talking yourself out of a deal, friend.
And I argued for it. I said, well, but you do it this way and you do it that way, and you bring in like these hairballs from the keychains. So 4 days later, I was in his office with the first draft script, and he bought it. I was fast.
The mission was completed.
I still am fast, but with Star Trek, there was a whole other space to go. You just got so enthused you didn't sleep or eat. You just, I'd get up from the typewriter going, yes, yes!
Who put the Tribbles in the Quadro Triticale?
This is so good! I had so much fun with that script. I just fall down laughing. The idea for The Trouble with Tribbles happened, it came at me from 3 directions. I've always been fascinated by the story of rabbits in Australia, that somebody had brought rabbits to Australia in the 20s and they'd gotten loose, and there are no natural predators for rabbits in Australia, and so in a space of like 5 years, I believe, they were all over the continent. And they still have a rabbit problem in Australia today.
You may be wondering just how the Tribbles get around. It took the ingenuity of prop designer Jimmy Rugg to make these small 5-inch diameter creatures move about as the story required. He used Japanese-made walking electrical toy dogs. And then he cut away the exterior and inserted it into a Tribble body. And to make them seem lifelike, he inserted small balloons inside each Tribble, which were attached to air hoses that ran off stage out of sight. And the Tribbles appear to be pulsating by alternating the air pressure.
Oh, it's adorable. What is it?
What is it? Why, lovely lady, it's a Tribble.
There was a lot of difference between the way I thought of it and the way it aired. What they shot was funnier.
Aye, they're into the machinery, all right.
I wasn't intending to be quite that funny. I wanted just this whimsical sense. But what happened is once we started working on the script, Dorothy would come in with something, and Gene L. Coon would come in with something. But Dorothy had a lot of suggestions, and the actors kept coming up with pieces of business. And Joe Pevney is a terrific director. He said, let's try this, or let's do that.
And I didn't know that Shatner was funny up until that episode. And 100 tribbles come down on his head. He does a great take, almost into the camera. I mean, they're all falling on his head, and he does... and looks up, and then looks down, and one more tribble comes floating down his head. And he does a great take. And I'm sure that he never had a chance to do that before. And for Lenny Nimoy to talk about the tribbles, you know.
1,771,561.
And to go very seriously about their reproducing.
That's assuming one tribble, multiplying with an average litter of 10, producing a new generation every 12 hours over a period of 3 days.
The trouble with Tribbles is it's a break in Star Trek reality. We did a few other comedies, but The Trouble with Tribbles is truly one of the ones that says these people, these actors, are not only funny, but they're willing to be funny by letting them use those abilities in a story. We had a great deal of fun.
Close that door.
They cause a great deal of trouble.
So when I finally saw the episode, I was on the floor laughing because I didn't know they had done that. And the whole business with Cyrano walking out and saying, I have a ship to tend to, au revoir. And then Kirk goes,
I have a ship to tend to. Au revoir.
I had no idea that Star Trek could get quite that funny because everything before then had been serious. And I knew that this was a funny show, but it wasn't going to be a fall-down laughing comedy in its first conception. It was just going to be a light show. And what happened is everybody realized that there was a lot of room to get comedic without losing the sense of who the characters were.
Alas, poor Yorick. Oh. Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott is prominently featured in The Trouble with Tribbles. James Doohan debuted in Star Trek's first season episode Where No Man Has Gone Before, and he went on to make significant contributions to the success of the Enterprise's mission and the series itself. And besides acting as Mr. Scott, he lent his voice to many characters throughout the series.
Who would have thought that this little creature would have been the focal point of one of Star Trek's most popular episodes? Not much to it. Bit of fluff, bit of fur, no eyes, nose, or mouth to speak of. A soft coo. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Rather like an ermine violin. All in all, an innocuous little creature that would, if left to its own devices, simply eat and multiply. And eat and multiply, eat and multiply, and eat and multiply. Which, of course, as we all know, is the trouble with Tribbles. The inconsistencies in the Klingon makeup over the history of Star Trek have been fascinating. In previous episodes, the Klingons were dark and swarthy, with heavy eyebrows and so forth. In this case, it seems like Bill Campbell's wearing no makeup at all, with the exception of a goatee. With very fair skin and very normal eyebrows, it's hardly a Klingon look at all. Interesting to note that when Bill revisited the role of Koloth in a 1994 episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, he appeared as a modern Klingon, complete with the forehead ridges, the long hair, and the notoriously bad teeth, and no explanation as to why he would look so different. Maybe it's something in the Klingon water. You have to admire the performance of William Shallard as Nils Barris. His presence brings a core of reality to every scene he's in, and he gives the episode an anchor, preventing it from drifting off into total foolishness. I think it made a big difference. The Trouble with Tribbles is one of the most popular episodes we ever did. Although I have to admit, I felt a little squeamish while we were making it. I was heavily into my Spock role, and Spock, as we know, has difficulty with the concept of humor. Looking at it now, in retrospect, I totally understand the popularity of the episode. Tribbles are tough to resist.